Today was one of the main reasons why I came to Krakow. Everybody who comes to Krakow, I suspect, goes to Auschwitz Birkenau. I've been meaning to go for years, but kept putting it off. But I'd reached a stage in my life where if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And it was a beautiful day, but it was a very difficult experience. Very difficult to comprehend that this had actually gone on in my lifetime. And the guide was superb. A lady called Alicia. And the whole thing is well organised. You go around in groups, and they're all going around at the same pace. So you're all sort of spaced out. Groups aren't piling on top of one another. So the guides aren't having to sort of shout as they usually do. And the amount of information they give you was just enough. Too often when you go on these guided tours, the guide goes on and on and on and on, you just switch off. But this really was well done. And I was coping really well, sort of completely detached from it really, to begin with. And then walking down a corridor, which had masses of photographs of men and women who had died there, just looking at them, I was struck by one immediately, because he died on the day I was born, which was a bit of a shaker really. He was only a young fella. And then later on, when we were looking at these piles of possessions and clothing, unbelievable mountains of the stuff. It was the shoes. In amongst this pile of shoes was a little tiny pair of blue patent leather shiny shoes with beautiful laces. Obviously belonged to somebody, I would imagine, would be 3 or 4 years of age, a little girl. She must have been so proud of them. They'd have to take them off when they arrived at this place, thinking that they were going to get a shower and then they were going to get dressed again, and they were just immediately taken away within minutes of being sorted out on the train, taken away to be exterminated. It cut me to the quick, really, and I was really quite choked by it. So the shoes are there, but nobody knows who on earth they belong to. It was a very poignant moment. And then later on at Birkenau, walking down the long stretch of railway from the entrance all the way down to the crematoria at the far end, this huge place, on this hot early summer's day, and it was a sort of quiet moment, and there was a skylark singing in the sky above, and I was just thinking, if you'd been there during those years, knowing that you weren't going to get out of the place, knowing what your ultimate fate was, even though it wasn't spelled out, to hear this skylark sort of singing freely in the sky above you must have been a strange moment. It was a strange moment for me, I know. So I've been, and I think everybody should go and experience it. I mean, I've read about it, heard about it, seen newsreel of it all, but until you're actually there, you don't really grasp the full horror of it. And whilst it's not going on the same scale as it was in the 1940s, still around the world people are experiencing similar horrors even today, which is a terrible indictment on humanity, to be honest. So, very sad. Well, we left at Krakow at 8:30, and it's now 22:11. It took us about an hour and a half to get here because of the roadworks, but yeah, it was a pleasant journey, interesting. So now we just form larger groups when we get here. Groups join together, and you have to go around with a guide, and there's a sort of security system when you come in. You're not allowed to bring big bags, like rucksacks and things, not allowed. So camera bags are okay. So we have arrived at Auschwitz, and this is my first view having come through the gate. It seems such an innocuous place. While we're hanging about, you can see over there that infamous sign over the entrance to this place. So we're going in now on this Arbeit macht frei. Work makes you free. What an evil sign. This is this double electric fence. It was originally built as a Polish military barracks before the war, but in 1940 it became a sort of work camp. People who lived here worked in coal mines, chemical factories and so on. Here you can see where the people were brought from, Jews were brought from all over, even from Oslo and Athens. It was a massive operation. And these are Hungarian Jews, separated out. They weren't even registered, they were just sent straight to gas chambers. This was in 1944. And this is a series of photographs.
many documents, but most of them were destroyed when liberation was about. They're trying to cover their backs. These are some secret documents, which of course are in German. The last days of their life. And the little children there. Terrible. This is Auschwitz II-Birkenau. They're being separated out, men and women.
Lo único que queda son las maletas abandonadas.
This is a model of the gas chamber. So they are the crematoria. And this is the tins which contain Zyklon B, which was used for the killing. And in the next room there is women's hair, which you're not allowed to photograph. It's difficult to imagine that they went to all this trouble. There's hair and shoes, glasses, clothes. Tens of thousands of shoes. You know, children's shoes. And the same on the other side. I just cannot believe thousands and thousands of shoes. These are brushes. Shaving brushes, hair brushes. Most of the blocks were run by sort of privileged prisoners. These were prisoners who had sort of sadistic tendencies, didn't mind treating the other prisoners brutally. They were known as the Auschwitz aristocracy by the prisoners themselves. These are mainly Polish people who were brought here. Thousands and thousands of them.
Właśnie ja poprzednim roku i teraz też mój korytarzem też możemy zrobić tutaj na fotografię robione podczas rejestracji po prawej stronie mężczyzny, po lewej stronie kobiety, dalej po lewej stronie będzie koledzy, księgowy, tej głównie śladzkiej.
Pero ya por la puerta al fondo se ve el paredón de ejecución. Aquí se ve la mayoría condenaron a muerte y ejecutaron en el gas. Se ejecutaba gente que tenía detenidas, salían de la cárcel, a la vez ponían
This is the death wall which was in this yard between these two blocks, which it was bricked off. And the this is the gallows where they hanged people 12 at a time. Awful. This is the box, the chap in charge of roll calls. When the weather was bad, he sat in there waiting to find out if anyone was missing. This gas chamber and crematorium were built from parts found in other concentration camps. It's not original. Nevertheless, it's got original bits in it. 700 people at a time were jammed in here for the last moments of their life. The Cyclone B was dropped in through these holes up there. And death was very, very quick. And this is a crematorium. And the rails that they push the bodies in. Sorry. And they were the rams used to push them in, jam them in, set them on fire. What a dreadful place. There's another one. Well, the crematoria is missing. Well, we left Auschwitz I and we've come to Auschwitz II, which is Birkenau, most of which was destroyed. But it's huge, it's much bigger than Auschwitz I. I think this was a purpose-built concentration camp, whereas Auschwitz I was originally Polish military barracks. And that's the first view I've got of it, the gatehouse. It's a lovely day. It's a funny day to be here, actually. The sun's shining so brightly. You can see just how vast this place is. If I just turn around. Row after row after row of huts. All the way along there for miles. Enormous.
The headphones again. Yolun döndüğü yerde.
A one-way trip. The camp was 3 kilometers by 2 kilometers. These chimneys you can see were rebuilt after the war for visitors. There's 2 per barracks, just to show, I'll give us some idea of what it was like. As I walk down here, I can hear a skylark. You can imagine being locked up in here, knowing you were never going to get out, not knowing when you were going to die. Watching a skylark up in the sky, singing away. I don't know whether you can hear it, it's stopped now. This is one of the original cattle trucks. 80 people were jammed in here, no food, no water, no sanitation, nothing. Within minutes they were sorted out. Healthy people who could work went to the left. Women, children, the ill and the elderly either went straight down there to 2 gas chambers or turned right, went along this little road here on the right hand side to 2 further gas chambers. And that was it. So this is the room where they had to take all their clothes off. And over there they were gassed 1,000 at a time and then fed into this crematorium 1,000 a day, and then their ashes were dispersed via a sewage system into the river and lakes. When they knew they were going to be captured, the Germans blew this thing up. There were 4 of them here. 3 of them were blown up by the Nazis, and the cremator bits were transported back to Germany, the metal parts. But the 4th one was destroyed by the prisoners themselves just before the liberation, and 300 of them were shot for their part in it. It didn't make any difference because they knew that the number of people being pushed through here towards the end of the war was more than they could cope with. It was absolute carnage everywhere. They just couldn't keep up with the numbers of people that were being brought in from all over the place. And they knew if they got caught, they would be tried for a substantial number, according to the guide. Were exonerated, well, not exactly exonerated, the bigwigs, they were executed, but there were people here, working here, who well, got away with it, for want of a better word, or want of a better phrase. And that was just one of 4 crematoria on this site. In fact, I think there might have been more. That gives you some idea of the extent of this place. You know, a brick. They've obviously been re-roofed. They slept 4 to a bed on straw mattresses, heaving with insects and rats everywhere. And in here you didn't get any food, didn't get any water, you didn't get any medication, you were just here to die. And when the place became overcrowded, you were just carted out on a cart and sent to the gas chamber. It's a horrible place. Absolutely awful.